today we're going to talk about spots that can be formed in a vehicle's painted surface by acid rain. Now, when sulfur dioxide and other emissions from such things as automobiles, factories, and even some natural sources combine with water in the atmosphere, sulfuric and nitric acid can be formed. Now, if these acids combine with rain, this will result in acid rain. Acid rain is just one type of fallout that can cause damage to a vehicle's painted surface. And by following the procedures that we're going to outline here for you today, we'll show you how in most cases you can remove this damage without repainting the vehicle. Now be careful when you're inspecting the car for the effects of acid rain damage. Make sure you don't confuse this with industrial fallout. Industrial fallout is actually airborne metallic particles that settle on the vehicle's surface and eventually eat their way into the paint. When rubbing your hand across a clean surface, you'll feel a gritty texture. And make sure that the surface is washed and clean when performing this check. Now, the 6 steps that we're going to go through here today are inspection, neutralization, buffing, cleaning, polishing, and waxing. The first step in the procedure is the inspection. Now, to do a good inspection, the car must be washed with a mild soap and water solution and dried completely. Now, don't attempt to wash or dry the car in sunlight, because this can cause water spots to form, and these spots could be easily confused with acid rain damage. Now, acid rain damage will appear most likely on the vehicle's horizontal surfaces, such as the hood, the roof, or the rear deck lid. Now, the other vehicle surfaces, such as the bumpers, fenders, and doors, should also be looked at. Do the inspection with a fluorescent light. Acid rain damage will be most visible under fluorescent light. Now that you know what the effects of acid rain damage can look like, let's go through what it takes to repair this damage. But before you begin, however, you must get authorization from your district service manager in order to get reimbursed through the warranty network. Once you've inspected all the areas of the car, the next step is to neutralize the acid. To do this, you can use baking soda and water or another commercial product such as Blue Max by Carbrite or its equivalent. If you use baking soda, use 4 tablespoons for each gallon of water. Mix the solution thoroughly until all the baking soda is dissolved. Apply the solution to all the affected areas. Let it set for at least a couple of minutes. Then rinse it off with clear water. The next step in the procedure is to buff out the affected areas. Now, buffing can be done by hand or with a low-speed orbital buffer using clean buffing pads, or, if necessary, even a high-speed buffer. Now, if you have experience using a buffer, you know how easy it is to ruin a good paint job. So if you decide to use a buffer, be very careful. To prepare for buffing, mask off any glass or chrome trim next to the affected areas. Once the areas to be worked on are masked off, use a light polishing compound such as Finesse-It by 3M, Acid Rain Cream by Carbrite, or an equivalent. Now, do not use general-purpose rubbing or polishing compounds, as these compounds are too coarse and could damage the paint. When buffing, buff only small areas no larger than 2 feet by 2 feet. Buff the affected area until all the acid rain spots are removed. Now be sure to inspect the work surface frequently to ensure that only the minimum of the car's original finish is removed. On cars with clear coat, if the color of the car starts to show on the buffing pad, this means that the clear coat has been penetrated and the car will have to be repainted. Now on cars without clear coat, if the primer starts to show through, then that car will also have to be repainted. Once buffing is completed, the next step in the procedure is to clean off the buffing compound. Now again, with the car out of the direct sunlight, wash the car thoroughly using a mild soap and water solution and dry it completely. Now with the car clean and dry and the acid rain spots removed, the next step is to polish the car's finish back to its original luster. Polishing can be done by hand or using a low-speed orbital buffer with clean buffing pads or a high-speed buffer. But once again, if you decide to use a buffing machine, be careful not to damage the paint. Now to polish the car, you can use polishing solutions such as liquid polish by 3M, crystal shine by Carbrite, or its equivalent. Now once you've polished the car and restored the luster of the original finish, your next and last step is to apply a coat of wax and you're all done. Well, that just about does it. Now the important things to remember are, be careful that you do not confuse the effects of acid rain damage with industrial fallout or common water spots. Contact your district service manager for authorization prior to doing any acid spot removal work. Follow the recommended 6-step procedure: inspection, neutralization, buffing, cleaning, polishing, and waxing. By following all 6 steps of this procedure carefully, you'll be doing your part to help ensure that the customer is satisfied.